Okay, this is a Foundation Friday hosted by myself, and we're going to do a little bit of local SEO, and I'm going to kind of lay out a strategy for real estate agents. And when you're talking about SEO, there's sort of this broad range and just the word in general, and obviously we know it stands for search engine optimization, which is just simply the ability for somebody to find you or your business online, right, through a search engine, and then try to get the ranking so that you're found and get organic traffic. But the broad term of the word SEO is you theoretically will compete with everybody on the entire interwebs, right, for the whole world. And it's about content and rankings and algorithms, and you get into some really technical stuff. And I think most people are really not too interested in that, especially real estate agents, where we're just kind of learning. And so then if we kind of drill down and we say, well, we don't really need to worry about where people in other countries are searching, or really even other states, or really too much even other counties, right? So we want to get to the local search results. And so in order to do that, there's what we call local SEO, and that's where you kind of drill down and go for cities, neighborhoods, states. Let me get this started here. It's the first time I've used this. This is beautiful AI, by the way, if you guys haven't checked it out. Basically, it's an AI PowerPoint. You can just put like what you want the presentation to be about, and like a link or some text that you want it to be, and it'll create the entire presentation for you, slides with images, graphics, the whole deal. So pretty powerful, cool stuff. But anyway, so this is beautiful AI. So why is local SEO important? And you guys aren't, this used to be more groundbreaking stuff, but everybody uses the internet. 99% of home buyers use the internet during their home search process. We know this. Most homes are found online, right? So 51% of home buyers found their home on the internet in 2022. So they find it online, then they go look at it. Mobile usage increased, so everybody's on their phone, they're walking around, they're on the internet, they're searching for stuff. But then people say, yeah, but are they searching for me, right? Because we know what they're searching for. They're searching through Redfin, they're searching through Zillow, they're searching through the homes.com now, realtor.com. But are they really searching for me? And is there really an opportunity for me, this little tiny goldfish in the sea of sharks? And there is, and how in depth we get in our SEO will determine if you can get found that way. But there's also this, right? And it's like, okay, so your buddy says, hey, you should use Sam Hankin on your next home purchase, right? He was the best. And then they kind of have this like, oh, okay, yeah, you know what? I'll give him a call. Okay, cool. But the very next thing that they do, right, is they go to Google and they search, because they want to kind of check on themselves. They want to look and see, I wonder what this Sam Hankin's all about. Does he have any reviews? Is he new? Is he experienced? Like, what kind of stuff does he do? Where does he work? All these kind of things. What does he specialize in? So if nothing else, we want to rank for ourselves, right? So that when somebody does a search for us, we have a good look, and we present well, and we're professional, we're authoritative, we're trustworthy. And so you can kind of do that online. And what I'm proposing, and this is my strategy, is that when somebody searches for you, I obviously put myself in here. So the Madrona Group, I put that there in the Google search bar, that the result that Google spits out is essentially your website, right? So if we think about right now, if you have a John L. Scott website, or if you're paying for a website or whatever, there's a hero image, which is sort of the main image, and usually some calls to action, and there's menus, right? Well, think about this. Look at this page, and this is essentially a website right here, right? You got your hero images over here on the right-hand side. You got your calls to actions. You got your menus. And this now, if I think about this as my website, when somebody searches for the Madrona Group, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I think we present pretty well. I think we look pretty authoritative. I think we look pretty trustworthy, right? And so this is kind of the strategy that I'm going to kind of work on, like, let's make this page look amazing. And I'll show you how to do that, right? It's pretty easy. Now, this is obviously, I just searched for, some fictitious name, right? Raymond No Way. And so Raymond No Way, his webpage doesn't look so good, right? They're like, oh, wait, did you mean Norway? No, I didn't. I meant Raymond No Way. I can't even find him. Have you guys ever found agents like this or businesses like this? Like, if you search for a business on Google or an agent and this is what you get, they're like, oh, did you mean some other spelling? Holy cow, does this person even exist? Is this who I want to trust with my, $500,000 to $2 million purchase? I don't know. Maybe they have some really great stuff going on somewhere, but not here. So we don't want our website to look like this. Look, no hero images over here, nothing, no links. This is not good. So we need to make sure that we don't show up like this. And then if we scroll down a little bit further, so back again to the Madrona Group, right? And so that front part of the search results I showed you. Now, if I scroll down a bit, now we're seeing, here's our John L. Scott link. Here's our Facebook link. Here's our YouTube link, right? You're still getting more information over here. And all this stuff over on the right-hand side, this is the Google My Business profile, right? So if somebody is kind of scrolling and looking, they're like, oh, wow, man, this just keeps going, right? And then if we scroll down a little bit further, still scrolling, hey, here's our X, which they still call Twitter there. And our X profile, our Redfin profile, our Instagram profile, our Zillow profile, our Pinterest profile, and it just keeps going, right? And at this point, now you're thinking to yourself, okay, I think I'd give these guys a call. I think they probably, have some good experience. I think they know what they're doing, right? Okay, so are we all bought in on this idea, like that is how you want to show up? What do you guys think about that?
Seems fantastic to me. Seems like, I think it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Awesome.
And we're proof of concept's been proven with the Madrona Group. I don't know if you guys, when we first started working together, he told me he was going to do all this, and here we are.
Yeah. Right. So I'm hopefully that, you can kind of buy in on that fact. I get I'm not going to compete with Zillow and I'm not going to compete with Redfin argument. And you're right, you're not. And just to kind of touch on that a little bit more. So that's going to be when somebody puts in the Google search bar, they're going to say Seattle homes for sale, right? Yeah, you are not going to get your website to rank #1 for Seattle homes for sale. It is not going to happen, right? So that's not our game anymore. Used to be, man, a lot of the SEO guys, like, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. What's the guy up in Bellingham? Keller Williams.
Yep. Ben Kinney.
Ben Kinney. So Ben Kinney, that's how he made his empire, right? He was one of the first in SEO, and that's when you could still rank for all that stuff. So everybody that typed in, anything real estate would go right to one of his sites. And it was pretty easy back then. Not easy now, super hard. And maybe I'll do like a part 2 class on all that stuff for the, if you really want to dig into it, like, getting a site with a blog that we can post content to regularly that has to be optimized with a certain amount of words, with alt tags and H tags and all that stuff and backlinks. But today we're just going to focus on this very simple strategy of creating a sort of a web page on Google for when people search for your name. But you might also get some key, some ranking from that as well. So we'll talk about that. So what are the key components to this website idea? It's the Google business profile is #1, right? if you do not have a Google business profile, which I've been saying this, I know a lot of people are saying this, you need to do that. And basically, if you want to rank on Google, you should probably tell them who you are, right? And that's what you're doing. It's free, it's easy. So that's kind of step one. Your John L. Scott website, or if you happen to pay for another kind of website, that should be one of the first links to display and on that site. And you notice that for the Madrona Group, the first set of links on there was our Madrona Group website, right? And if your John L. Scott website is not displaying when you search your name, it's probably a pretty good indication that you have not done anything to kind of set it up or optimize it. So make sure that the website, your John L. Scott website, or your whatever website you're paying for, make sure that's one of the first results that pops up in the Google search result when you search your name. Now, if you have, and I'll throw this out there as well, if you have a common name, you can't probably just search your name and get that result. So if you have a more common name, you'll probably have to put your name and then real estate after it. And then that should pull you up, right? Because the search knows that you're local. It'll know that you're a local real estate agent with that name. Social media accounts, right? So if you noticed, as you scroll down on that website, our Pinterest showed up, our X showed up, our Facebook showed up, right? So those social media accounts do more than just, they're more than just ways to advertise or market ourselves. They also will help to build that credibility, that social proof. It doesn't count toward SEO, like in the traditional sense. Like you don't get backlinks from it, or like if you have, 5,000 fans, you're not going to get like more credit for that and SEO wise, but it does kind of help with SEO in other ways. Like, for example, just showing that, how strong your profile looks in general. And then reviews, right? So you probably noticed it over on the right-hand side, also within Redfin, also on Zillow. The reviews show up in the results, right? That's one of the first things you see. And not only that, but they show up like in the color red. And so they really want you to see the reviews, and people really want to see reviews, right? So I always say, if one person says it, it's an opinion. If two people say it, then it's a fact, right? Social proof. So if you just call and you say, hey, I'm the greatest real estate agent on the planet, you're just a salesman. But if you got 60 people that say it with their 4 or 5 star reviews, oh, that's a fact, right? Social proof. And then your agent and team profiles. And the profiles are like Zillow, Realtor, Homes.com, all these different directories and such. And I'll share some of that stuff with you as well. It's all pretty easy to do. And one of the things that I do whenever I teach this kind of stuff, I try to always put myself in the, what did I say, like not the lowest common denominator, but like back when we were just getting started and we didn't have a budget. And so I'm going to try to like share with you stuff that's free and or inexpensive. And so you can, spend money on a lot of this stuff. You can buy these fancy tools and you can do all these crazy things, but pretty much everything I'm going to teach you is like free or pretty close to it. And so pretty easy to do and pretty accessible. All right. So one of the first things I have to do is really decide on a business name. And because when you go through, and I don't, that's my next slide, but when you go through and you're putting your profiles together, you want to have consistency. So you kind of have to know, like, you don't want to keep changing it. Like, oh, it's one day it's, Sam Hankin, John L. Scott. One day it's just Sam Hankin. One day it's Sam's Plan, or I don't know, whatever, right? You want to pick a business name that you're going to market with and then stick with that. And, you want to do that for your sign, for your business cards, for your flyers, for your online presences, for your websites, for everything, right? Find that consistency. And then, so, it's like, how do you choose a business name and what does that mean? I mean, each one of us is a 1099 contractor. We're technically a small business. And so you will kind of have this name, and you don't have to have an LLC or be incorporated. This doesn't have to be a big official fancy thing, although you can and probably should for the sake of protection and taxes. But you know, it can be just your name. Although if it's just your name, especially if you got a name like John Smith, well, or like actually Jason Fox is a very common name. Like I can't get my name to rank. There's a couple TV stars and book writers and all this stuff. And so if I just went with Jason Fox, it would be very difficult for me to get my name to rank, right? And so I'm going to call myself something. Plus, Jason Fox doesn't really tell anybody what I do, right? So I'm going to call myself a team, a group. I'm going to say John L. Scott Real Estate. I'm going to say whatever, the Madrona Group. I'm going to say Jason Fox Homes. I'm going to say Jason Fox Sells. I'm going to say Jason Fox John L. Scott. I'm going to say something where it's my name, but it's also a description so people understand what it is that I do. And then I don't know that how important it is for like your average agent to have like a logo per se, because I kind of think of our face as our logo. If you think about your image as a logo, then every time I see your name and your face, along with that description, I'm going to be reminded of you and what you do, right? Name and face, along with the description. So it's a pretty simple process. Don't make it too complicated. Even coming up with like a big name, like Joe and I did with the Madrona Group, right? Because that is, now that doesn't associate our names or our face. We always knew that we wanted to be a brokerage. And so we started that way, but it's way harder to market to that. And you have to get people used to the idea of the brand, which is like a whole nother thing. So I would say for most people, don't do that. Stick with your name, description, your face. And then technically what your name cannot be is anything that implies that you are your own brokerage, right? So, and that includes the word real estate, which I really think is garbage, but it just is what it is. So if you call yourself John Smith Real Estate, you'll be fine for the most part. Like probably nobody will say anything, but if the MLS sees it or somebody flags it or it comes to their attention, then they will send you a letter to tell you that you have to remove that from your name, which means that if you have signs and business cards and all that stuff, it could end up being pretty pricey. And then like, how do you remove that from like all your websites and all your profiles and all your social media accounts and all that stuff? So I personally would recommend that you not call yourself so-and-so real estate. Although if you call yourself so-and-so John L. Scott Real Estate, you can do that because you clearly are stating that you are with a brokerage and not representing a brokerage. You obviously can't call yourself realty firm brokerage, right? And then realtor, right? That's a trademarked thing. So sorry, what was that? Oh, okay. I'm gonna mute somebody there. Okay. So how to choose your business name. So you choose a business name, and here's the reason why. Along all the platforms, whenever Google, we all know that Google has little robots, and they go and they scour all the lines of code through the search engine. And that's how they kind of figure out, then they put that in their algorithm, and that's how they determine what the search results are going to be. And so how do they know that you are who you are? It's what they call NAP, N-A-P, right? And NAP is pretty simple. It's just your business name that's consistently over all of these different things, your website, your profiles, your social media accounts. So your business name, address, and phone number, right? And that is sort of your, your Google search social security number, your Google search identifier. So every time the algorithm or the spiders or whatever, whenever they see that combination of name, address, and phone number, they're like, oh, this goes to this guy's account or this gal's account, right? And so as it's scouring stuff, it's going up. And each one of those is like a little check mark or maybe like a little vote. It's like a little vote of confidence saying, oh, this person is legitimate, right? This is an actual business. They have all these different accounts and profiles and whatnot. So, and then they also, to some extent, will throw in website in there as well. So some people will say it's NAP plus W, name, address, phone number, and website address. So, but anyway, as long as that's always consistent, you pick it, you stick with it, and you roll with it, right? Make sure, again, use the full legal name, complete address. Don't use abbreviations, right? The closer it looks each time, the more chance that the algorithm will figure out it's you. And then keep it updated. So if you change a phone number or a website, or you decide to change your name, then you have to go through and do that universally. So that's why it's important to really pick the name first. Pick the stuff first that you're very comfortable with, and then stick with it, right? Consistency is crucial while building your local SEO. All right, so that's NAP. All right, so the heartbeat of the strategy that I'm talking about today is the Google My Business listing, right? And I know this is talked about quite a bit, and if you've already done this, then, kudos to you. However, I bet you, because I go look at almost every single one of them, if I have not left you a review, let me know and I will do that. I've tried to go through, I've left over 100 reviews for all the agents. So I think I've hit everybody, but if I haven't hit you, let me know. So I've looked at every single one of your Google My Business profiles. If you have one, which not everybody does. So, but there's a few things that people are missing. First thing is, obviously, just Google this. Google My Business. Google My Business. It's free. It's easy. They're going to ask you some questions. They do want you to verify your address. This is the only part that gets a little complicated. When you go to verify your address, you have a decision to make. Do you want to use the office address, or do you want to use your home office address? Or do you want to say that there's no address at all? I will recommend you not saying that there's no address, right? Because that sort of kills the whole idea of local SEO. So if you're going to use an address, it should be your home address or your business address. Although I'm going to tell you, if you use a home address, there's obviously some things to consider there. One, everybody on the internet will have your home address, right? So that could be very creepy for some people. So think about that. Also, Google doesn't really like you using a home address. If they find out, they might ask you to shut it down or verify that you are a legitimate business with legitimate open hours. So if you use a home address, there's a very good possibility that you will have some trouble with that. So if you use the office address, that's good, except for every agent uses the office address. And so what happens there is that if somebody does a search for the area, Google doesn't want to show every single agent that's associated with a single address, right? Maybe there's 20 or 30 of them. So they'll pick 3 or so and then kind of hide everybody. And then they rotate that through, right? So real pros and cons to all 3 ways. Probably your best bet is just to go with the office address and then try to build your profile up stronger in other ways. Okay, make sure that you add accurate info. That's probably, whatever. But again, business name, address, phone number, website, right? Your NAP plus W. You should have about 100 photos in your Google My Business profile. That's the point where we can see a difference between ranking and not ranking, right? They want to have your business look like a thriving, successful, long-standing business. And so you say, okay, oh my gosh, how am I going to find it? Well, hopefully you don't have 100 photos of yourself, but if you do, that's great. But where can I get 100 photos that I would be okay putting on my Google My Business profile? So it can be, photos, pictures of your clients, right? You take your closings. It can be listings, as long as you own the copyright to the image, right? Which is, disclaimer, do not use an image from the internet if you do not have copyrights to it. You will get a bill. And it can be a very big bill, like thousands of dollars, especially if it's from Getty Images. Oh my gosh. So only use images that you have copyrights to. You can take screenshots of, like, say you take, let's say you had built up something, a profile on Zillow. And let's say you have like, I don't know, 30 or 40 reviews on Zillow. What if you took like a screenshot of each one of those Zillow reviews, right? And then you uploaded that. That would be like 40 images, right? That also showed social proof or reviews from a site that's not associated to your Google My Business account, right? So there's lots of different ways you can sort of be creative. You can find, images of the area, go take pictures of, different streets or, different neighborhoods, whatever, but 100 photos. And then we have to get the reviews. And I'll show you in a second what I think is the easiest way to get the reviews. But that is probably the most important part. You have to have at least like 5 for it to start to, catch some momentum, right? So we got to work on getting those first 5 reviews. Now, does it have to be a client? No, it does not, right? That's why I went through and I tried to give everybody reviews. It can be peer-to-peer, it can be whatever. You just have to get those, at least get those first 5 reviews. And then I know that most of us aren't doing some of this other stuff, services or products, excuse me. I think they call it products. So Google will ask you, what are your products, right? And the point is that everything that they want me to fill in, I'm going to give it content so that it is completely filled in, completely optimized. And along the way, when I'm doing stuff like writing the about me and adding products, now I'm throwing in keywords that I want people to associate me with, right? So when I'm adding my services, I'm going to maybe say, oh, I work with relo, I work with buyers, I work with sellers, I work with first-time home buyers, investors, commercial, whatever it is that, you do, condos, waterfront houses, equestrian estates, whatever, right? And these are all now keywords. So I'm adding my products, I'm filling out and optimizing my Google My Business profile, and I'm showing people like what it is that I like to specialize in, or what services I offer, what I like to do. And then the final thing is that you can add fresh updates, right? So it's very much like blogging or posting on social media, and you add a picture or a video, add content, and you can add a link, right? So if I can add fresh content to my Google My Business profile, now I'm showing Google, okay, I'm completely optimized, I'm all keyworded up, I did everything you asked me to do, and I'm keeping it updated by adding fresh content on a regular basis. So for example, when we do the agent of the week, I'll take that image and I'll post that to the Google profile that's associated with that office, right? And I'll say something like, oh, so-and-so agent was agent of the week. They work out of XYZ office, and I'll put a link to their website, and boom, right? So now I'm actually giving my Google My Business profile fresh content on a regular basis. Now, this is easy, it's cheap, it's free. And if I optimize this part of my website, it's going to, really pay off. And I'll show you how in just a second.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you were talking about logos and photos. So on your Google business profile, that little circle, should it be a picture of you, or should it be like your John L. Scott or whatever your logo is?
Yeah. So it should be a picture of you. Everything should be a picture of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's John L. Scott actually did a study, and it was a live panel, and they took, 50 or 100 people in a room, and they showed them a branded set of marketing versus a name and face set of marketing, and asked them a whole series of questions, and tried to figure out which stuff people would remember better, which stuff made more sense. And unanimously, everybody leaned towards the face and the name. That was just more recognizable, easier to understand. So
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
Okay, so now how can it pay off if you are doing all these things and you're like, okay, well, what if somebody doesn't just search for my name, but I'd like to get some original or unique hits, some new people to add to my database. So here you see, I went to Google and I typed in best Linwood real estate agent, right? And this is what people search for now, right? This is one of the things they do. Best Linwood real estate agent. Now, Google has sort of punished us recently. So I'm not going to show you all the content that was above this. They put their SLA or SAL ads at the very top. You guys know about those. That's at the very top of this result. There'll be like a picture of, and they will only let you do your name and your face. And then it's got your reviews. And those ads are about $50 a click. $50 a click to be at the very top. And so most of us aren't really probably able to do that. And then they do all their sponsored stuff. And then they get to their map pack, right? And this is what's called the map pack. So you'll see that the number one result in the map pack is the Madrona Group, right? So, and I think this also happens in Ballard and some other places. And it's because, right, we are optimized. And that includes reviews. But if you notice, I threw on here. So here's our products, right? And there's I think 10 of them on here. So listings, investment opportunities, multifamily, whatever. And then if you'll see here, the content, these are the updates. And so here's a fresh blog post. Here's when Alec was agent of the week, right? Just like we talked about. So I'm doing all the things that Google is asking me to do, and it is rewarding me by giving me the number one spot when somebody searched for the best agent in this city. And there's a couple of neighborhoods and cities that this happens. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if it still happens, but I know when I was kind of teaching this 6-8 months ago, when I would put in best West Seattle real estate agent, Chris Cruz would show up number one, right? He had taken a class about optimizing his GMB, his Google My Business account. And he was just doing it. And I was like, wow, man, I noticed you popped up number one when I searched for you. He's like, yeah, I took this class and I've just been doing what they said. I said, oh, yeah, it's paying off. I'm like, is it generating business for you? And yeah, it is, right? He's like, sure, I get a couple deals a year out of it, right? So as do we, right? So there is some benefit to doing the optimization as well. Although if you're not going to do all the optimization stuff, that's okay too. You're still going to have that good looking website when people search your name. But if you want to take it that step further, you want to try to get new and organic and increased business, then you need to really take and do all these little extra steps and make sure that you're, got it all filled out. Okay, so I kind of told you I'd show you what I think is the easiest way to get Google reviews. So the first thing we want to do, obviously you have to have your Google My Business profile set up, but I would say start from your phone, okay, and you go to Google and go to Chrome, excuse me. Now your Chrome, you log into your Chrome with your Google account or your Google profile, right? Does everybody know that? So by just being on Chrome, if you have a Google account, you will be logged in, and you'll know it because you'll see your little face up here in the upper right-hand corner. And when you are logged in, then oh shoot, there's I did the pictures from from my desktop. But anyway, same idea. You have to get to your business profile manager. And once you get to your business profile manager, then you will get this box right here in your search results. So they used to have, the GMB used to have like a whole kind of site where you'd go on there and it was unique and there was all your businesses and all that stuff. Whatever reason, this last year, they just sort of incorporated it right into the search results. So it's kind of weird. You're like, you wouldn't expect it unless you were looking for it, but you'll know because it'll say, you know, your business on Google, you'll see your picture again. And then it'll give you all these different options that you can do with your business. And one of the options that you can do is called Ask for Reviews, right? So when you click on Ask for Reviews, it's going to open up a prompt. And the prompt it's just a little box, and it's going to say, give your customers a link to review your business on Google. All you do is hit the two little copy icons, and that will copy the link that opens up your Google review page right to the page where people just, you know, push how many stars they want. Okay. So super, super simple. So now I have that link copied to my phone, and I'm going to go write a text. And I just asked Chat GPT to write this. So I don't know, but hey, just popping in to say a huge thanks for being such a star client. I've got a tiny favor to ask. Would you mind dropping a 5-star review if you're happy with how everything went? It's super quick and it helps more awesome clients like you find us. Here's the link. Okay. And then I paste the link into my text, you know, thanks a million, whatever. However you want your text to look. I text this right to my client. Now, I'm going to do this. Well, if I'm backdating everything now, you know, maybe I'm going to write the text a little differently. Hey, I know we did business 4 months ago and, you know, but if I'm just getting caught up on some of this stuff. So, you know, if you still feel like, you know, we gave you 5-star service, that would be super awesome if you helped me out and, you know, shared it with the world. Here's the link, right? However your text looks. But I find that you get the best results like the day before closing or the day of closing. And you know what it is at that point everybody's starting to feel you know, the relief and the excitement. It's all coming together, but they're not overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, now we have to move and figure all this stuff out. So the last thing anybody wants to do, like the day after closing for like months, is write anybody a review, right? It's just all about moving or remodeling or all the other million things that they have to think about. So if you send that text before all that stress and pressure hits, and while they're still really super excited and happy, you know, about the transaction, that's when I get the best results. Now, I want to tell you that even though we put it in our listing presentation, right? And I'll say, hey, you know, you probably noticed that we're 5-star reviewed across all these platforms. And at the end of this transaction, right, we're going to ask you to do the same thing. So if at any point through this transaction, you don't feel like you're getting 5-star service, please let me know. I'll talk to Joe about it. That's my joke. And
I'm here. That's it.
and we'll get it cleaned up, right? Even though I put that, and they always say every single time, oh yeah, for sure, we'll definitely do that. It's not so easy to get these. So you can't just give up on the first one. It does sometimes take me, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 emails and texts before people will do it. And then sometimes they just don't do it, and who knows? So, but anyway, if you time it out, I think this is the easiest way to do it. If you have a different system, that's great. You can pay for systems like Bird's Eye and you know, Real Satisfied and some of these others that will help you get those reviews. But this is a pretty simple, easy, free way. So It's all about the follow-up. Yeah, of course. And, you know, if you were good with your follow-up, you should be able to get those 5-star reviews, no problem. So, all right, leveraging social media. Like I said, social media doesn't give you SEO like in the traditional sense, but it does give you improved social trust. It does give you increased traffic, right? And increased traffic on your platforms. You know, that could lead to, you know, somebody sharing something or putting links somewhere that then does give you that more traditional SEO. And then of course, more social backlinks. And the more traffic you have like coming and going through, you know, all of your different platforms, the better it is. And I don't know, I think that maybe if you do have robust social platforms that are connected to your GMB, you might get a little bit of credit for that, but that's sort of a debatable thing. But anyway, so build the social media. So local listings, right? So you want to complete your Google business profile. The more complete, the more you add to it, the more likely you'll get some of those search results. You want to optimize your social media. You want to claim directories, and I'll share that here with you in just a second, what I mean there. Manage listings. And there's a tool, and I'll show you that in a second. And then don't forget, while you're doing your GMB and some of these profiles, to use the keywords, right? Don't be afraid to use, you know, what city or neighborhood you work out of, you know, what your services are, who you service, what are your products. Trying to stick with these keywords is very critical. So hold on one sec. Okay, so profiles and directories. We also noticed that when we were looking at the web page, the Google web page, right, as we scrolled down, we're like, oh, here's our Zillow profile, here's our realtor, here's our Redfin, here's our, you know, all these different profiles help show that we are credible. But if you don't go in there and really fill them out, you could do yourself more harm than good. So if you're going to take the time to build these profiles and add to these directories, take the time to fill them out completely, answer all the questions, put your hours of operation in there, put obviously that business name, address, phone number, website, right? Don't skimp on this part of it, because it'll end up making you look like, oh, well, what if I do click on that link? And then it's like, I'm a real estate agent or something, you know, it's like, oh, okay, good for you. So take the time and really fill these things out. But some of the ones that you should definitely be on, and for SEO, right? You may have your opinions about some of these companies, and that's up to you. But for SEO purposes, you should definitely have a free Zillow profile that is completely filled out and shows, you know, all of your past sales, any reviews that you get on Zillow, and anything else that you can add to the profile to make it more robust. Your realtor.com profile. We just learned last week that Northwest MLS is made it so that we can access that realtor.com profile and make it a little bit more robust, meaning if you have that filled up, when people are on realtor.com and they come on your listing, your profile will show up on there now, which didn't used to happen, right? Homes.com. So homes.com is just kind of coming out of nowhere right now. They put a ton of money into this thing, and they're actually ranking ahead of Realtor right this second. Yelp is one a lot of people have problems with. A couple of problems with them. One, we have, I don't know, I think we have like 30 reviews on Yelp, but only like 10 of them show up. They've determined that 20 people that left us reviews shouldn't show up in the results based on their algorithm. It's very frustrating, but you know, you just know that about Yelp and whatever. Alignable, Manta, About Me, Trulia, Active Rain. Active Rain, that used to be real big back in the day. It's still around. It still has Google juice, right? So you can put a profile on there. Bing business profile. So there's the Google My Business, and then there's the Bing business profile. So you can set that up. And then of course, socials, right? We should definitely have a Facebook page, an Instagram, and a LinkedIn, right? Those three are sort of, I don't know, you kind of have to have that in your arsenal. And then maybe a YouTube, maybe a X, TikTok, Pinterest. I'll tell you what though, Pinterest is actually for SEO. Like if you guys remember, I think in ours, Facebook showed up, X showed up, and then Pinterest was the third one to show up. So Pinterest gets a lot of SEO. And then if you use this tool here, the SEM Rush Local, it's called, you can get a free report. And this free report will basically it'll look up your NAP, your name, your address, and your phone number. And it will do a scan of 51 different data points or 51 different directories to see which ones you show up on and if your profiles are set up correctly. And this is free, so check it out. And they're going to ask you to pay for something to have it all done for you. You don't need to do that. You can just go to each one of those directories and see if you can sign up. And again, each time you sign up for one of these directories or one of these profiles, it's a little check mark saying to Google, hey, I'm legitimate, put me up in the rankings, right? So, you know, this is just time, which of course is a commodity of its own, but okay, let's see. And then finally, I'm going to say, consider creating a YouTube channel, right? And the YouTube channel is interesting because YouTube is sort of like a search engine of its own. Typically, if I am going to try to figure out how to do something, I am going to YouTube it, right? So when Sam's remodeling his kitchen and he's like, oh, hey, what are the best practices for tiling this backsplash? You know, he's probably going to go to YouTube and find some videos that walk him through it, right? I mean, we all done that. And so basically YouTube is like this whole other search engine all on its own. A YouTube channel is free, right? So, and a YouTube channel we can set up with our business name, address, phone number, and we can load videos to it. Now that's the problem. We have to load videos to it. Otherwise it's just a blank page. But if you do want to get into making videos, I would suggest that you put some on YouTube. You want to try to make informative videos that are 3 to 15 minutes in length, right? So again, most people when they're going to YouTube are looking for, I'm kind of looking for answers, right? So if I make my videos, they're answers to people's questions, then it's much more likely that they'll be found and viewed. So in this example, your video will also make its way onto Google, right? So I searched Seattle real estate market, and I'm gonna tell you guys, I have not been able to keep up with this. For 3 or 4 years, every single month, I did a market report along with a video for both Seattle and Snohomish County. I ranked #1 for both of those keywords. So when you typed in Seattle real estate market or Snohomish County real estate market, the #1 result for years was the Madrona Group. And that drove a ton of traffic and generated probably 5 or 6 listings a year, right? And so, but I have not kept up with it. I think, what is this one here? This one's from April. It hasn't been, has it been that long? No, that's 22. Anyway, August of 23. Yeah, that was the last one I did. So I haven't done one in 2 months, okay? But still, when I searched Seattle real estate market and I looked in videos, the #1 result, right, is one of my videos. And if you scroll down, I think the #4 result was also one, and so on and so forth, right? So your videos can also find their way onto YouTube, onto Google from YouTube. So just a good way to build some SEO, and your videos can actually become part of that website as well. Sometimes your videos will pop up as one of your results, and you know, that's very helpful. So Couple of things. When you're making your video, it's already kind of a pain in the butt just to do the video itself. But then when you put it into YouTube, you have to make sure that you optimize it, right? If all you do is do the video, which was already hard enough, I know, and then you upload it and you say, oh, okay, phew, it's uploaded to YouTube, all good. Nope, not all good, right? Now we still got more work to do. Now we have to create a catchy headline, right? Or a headline that's going to attract. And we have to put in a keyword rich description. And we have to put in a visually appealing or eye-catching thumbnail image. Oh my gosh, are you serious? I know. This is why I added this one last. This one now gets a little bit of a pain in the butt. But guess what? We got some tools now to help make these things pretty easy. So we can use ChatGPT to assist us in optimizing. Hey, ChatGPT, I just did a video on why, what an appraiser does, right? What's the role of an appraiser? Create 10 SEO-friendly, catchy headlines for my YouTube video. Okay, here's some headlines for you. All right, now write a description based on the fact that I talk about, what happens in the case of a low appraisal. How does an appraiser do their job? When do we get an appraisal? Blah, blah, blah. All right, here's your description. Great. Okay, now I got some keyword-rich description. I got a catchy headline, and I'm going to go to Canva. And because now you can use AI for thumbnails too, but I don't know how good they're going to do about like writing titles and all that stuff yet. I don't think they're quite there yet. So I'm still going to go to Canva to create my thumbnail. But you can go to Canva. You can type in YouTube thumbnail, right? Boom. It'll give you the exact size because it knows it. And it'll give you all these templates that you can borrow. Find one that looks pretty cool, and then change the picture to your picture, change the title to the title of your video, change the colors to your colors. Voila, eye-catching YouTube thumbnail video, right? And then, of course, you can post that video to your Google My Business profile. You can post it to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, you name it. All right, so local SEO strategy. Local SEO, it's the art of showing up on the search engines when your clients search for you. Your website, it's the first page of Google when your clients search for you. Your NAP, right? Picking a business name, then staying consistent with your name, address, and phone number, and sometimes website. Your Google My Business profile, it's the heart of the Google website, so make sure to create and optimize this. 5-star reviews, think of this as kind of the gasoline. As people become more skeptical with sales, it's crucial to have social proof. Social media, again, it's not an actual SEO. It doesn't actually boost your SEO, but it does a lot of stuff to help boost your SEO, if that makes sense. Profiles and directories, okay, you can add credibility to your website. You can also show social proof, and it does, some of those links kind of do count to boost up your SEO. Think about a YouTube channel, right? When people want to learn how to do something, they go to YouTube and then add content, right? And whether it's on your GMB or putting stuff on YouTube or posting to your socials, try to stay consistent with adding fresh content. And that is what I have